Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live for this Tuesday, October 2. It's a Blood in the Streets day. Today we have a really interesting show, as usual. We have David Rendimonti from LiveWell Canada is going to be here. We have another fantastic little piece from Justin B. Marshall. We're going to be talking about...
I'm here.
Special Head is here to give us some special head. Anyways, that's funny for me, maybe not so funny for you, the audience, or you, the audience. I noticed yesterday, half the time I'm looking at the camera there, and it's that one that's on, and I'm like, blah, 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 and it's like, yeah, I must look so stupid. But I'm pretty sure that's the objective. Anyways, we're going to talk about Tilray. We're going to talk about Patriot One, because Patriot One is one of the few green things on the screen today.
And Nutrisize green.
Nutrisize. We're going to talk about.
I called Glenn. Remember Glenn?
Oh yeah, Nutrisize.
And I said maybe you get an update next week.
You said, hey, how about those options that you stiffed me on, you bastard?
No,
you didn't say that. I would say that.
No,
I'd be like,
I couldn't say that.
No, I could. That's what I'm here for, Ed. Good cop, bad cop.
All right. Maybe he forgot.
Could be. Could be. It is conceivable.
You know what?
Very busy. So we're going to talk about a company called Pacific Rim Brands, which is private, not yet public.
Right.
You, the audience, might be able to participate in these things if you're an accredited investor. It depends on what else we sort of get through. But this is a company that is going to address one of the key problems in the whole concept of cannabis as an ingredient in foodstuffs, beverages, and cosmetics. And that issue is stability. Did you know that if you just throw in some cannabis extract into a beverage and shake it all up, put the lime and the coconut and shake it all up, you put it on the shelf, well, guess what happens? THCA starts degrading into THC something else, I can't remember what, or it's the other way around. CBD starts to modify. In some cases, it may intensify. In other cases, it may diminish. So that the labeling on the bottle will not be representative of the actual content of cannabinoids after a short period.
When did you find this out?
Well, it's just a little bit of the research I've been doing, Ed, that I'm now ready to speak about, because I have purchased a position with this company at the ground floor level. So it's still private, so nobody can buy it, so I can basically say whatever I want about it. But this is a big problem. Like all these people, you know, we're going to do these beverages, we're going to put out these candies, we're going to do this, we're going to go, yeah, what about stability of cannabinoids that makes your labeling consistent for a 2-year shelf life? Because that's what it's going to take. Technology all developed at UBC, very near and dear to my heart.
So you went to school? Or you
no.
pretended to go to school there?
No, I used to go there and just...
hanging around the
well, let's just say I used to be known to tilt one or two back at the university pub when there were certain bands playing. There was a nudist beach across the road from the university that was famous called Wreck Beach, where I used to go and get wrecked. However, that's not why it was called Wreck Beach. That's another story. Anyways, Pacific Rim Brands is got these advanced formulations developed at the university that are going to be good for 2 years, where what the label says on this date in 2018 will be the same as it is on this date in 2020.
Interesting.
Which is really interesting because they've already got conversations going with the likes of Diageo and others. So this is a big problem, especially if you're going to blend cannabinoid extracts with other things. Like, you don't know what the reaction is going to be if you're going to put it with a certain hop barley combination. So it's an
I just can't, you know, drinking pot doesn't seem to be as...
Yeah, I know, you drink, then you get high. Not, or you get high, then you have a drink. But not, like, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're thinking. Anyways, what else we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about Weekend Unlimited, coming very soon to a market near you.
Hey, did you see where there's a new one?
A new
marijuana company trading in Canada.
Yeah.
The ticker is TRUL.
True Leaf.
True Believe? True belief.
Trulu.
True do? True.
Tra-la-la?
Tra-la-la.
And what do you know about this company, Ed? Why are you mentioning it?
Well,
do you own it?
No,
do you
I
own it?
No.
Are they a client?
They're about to be.
Okay. All right. See, this is part of our...
So it was out at $5 or $6 or $7 or $8, and now it's over 20. This
No shit.
Flying. Try TRUL.
It's over 20. Like, how do we get involved with that? What do we buy high and sell higher?
But we don't. We want to see if it's going to
who cares about companies
emulate
like
the move in.
You know, the great thing about buying low...
Tilray or Tilray?
Tilray. The great thing about buying low is the lower you buy, the shorter the distance to zero. On the upside...
I get that. I get that a lot.
All right, I'm going to pull up my NDI so we can see what the hell is going on here in the markets.
Sure.
First, let me make sure all of my other...
I want to see what this TRUL is trading at today and see if it's got any
21.79, $21.70. Like, see, you know what? I have no time of day for companies that start off at this vaunted height and then want to come and visit us on our platform. It's like, no, I'm not really that interested.
What if it goes to 100 and you mentioned it here and everybody's watching the show and saying, hey, look at this.
Or what if we bring them on at an all-time high of 21 and it goes to 20 cents?
Right.
Right. So what are the chances of that if you start with a company that's at 20 cents or 50 cents? At least everybody who hears about it at 20 and 50 is going to get a ride up, at which point if they don't jump off at the appropriate moment, they have nobody but themselves to blame for the carnage that ensues. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Ed?
I know what you're saying, but I'm sort of one of these guys that's curious about everything.
Curious?
Curious.
Like bi-curious? That means like curious in two directions. At this late date in life? Come on, Ed.
I've made my.
All right, enough about
selection.
You. Let's talk about the market. Can you say blood in the streets? Dun dun dun! Blood in the streets.
Look at the blood.
In the streets.
And that blood has got holes at the bottom of it.
Well, it's... There, did you see that monster? One of these days, that hand's going to reach right out and grab you and be all... throw you across the room and all.
Looking at indices are fine, except that they don't really tell you.
Soft. What do you mean they don't really tell you what? Look at this. Down 6.1% on the large caps relative to the smallest cap one is down 3.19%. This is a dynamic that you see repeated again and again. If it's a down day, the bigger the large cap is down, the less the lower cap will be down. If it's an up day, the more the large cap is up, the smaller the small cap will be up. There's all these little crazy patterns that I think this little dynamic of indices, if you're a pattern recognition kind of guy, like I'd like to fool myself that I am, pretty sure I see some male pattern baldness over there. Pretty sure I see some corrugated paper over there.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that thing's round.
Yeah.
Anyways, not really making my point, but my point being...
It's red.
That there are patterns that you can observe that will limit your downside if you can translate that into a disciplined trade. And there are patterns...
I think this is going to cascade a bit as we head into October the...
I don't like your attitude, mister.
It's not my attitude. It
sounds like it.
You know, I could have said here, at this juncture, I could have said, it doesn't look good. And guess what? It looked great.
Well, not from the bottom it didn't. Because until it's going up, it's going down.
I know.
This is the conundrum of the markets.
The conundrum.
When to buy, when to sell. When's it going up? When's it going to turn around? When's it going to drop? I mean, really. It's amazing we ever make a dime.
Yeah, well.
Or a nickel.
Gold had a big day today, you know. It did.
So I see. When it's an ugly day in the cannabis space, we'll start talking about gold.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. This is not a.
That's great, Ed. I think that's a great strategy.
I'm just pointing out that gold.
Depressed? Did your portfolio collapse in value today? Talk about gold. Hey.
No, it didn't.
The other yellow metal.
It didn't. I don't know.
What did gold do today?
I think it was up about
Did it cross the $1,200 threshold? That psychological barrier to any interest?
Yeah, it did. It quite well. It got to about 12, I think, at one
Sprouts
point.
Group sent out a piece today that was published in Barron's that said gold was cheap. And I thought, that's interesting. This is the same Barron's that told everybody to buy the reversal in the commodities market that was happening at this end of 2014, which turned out to be nothing more than a small dead cat bounce, which just wiped out a broader swath of investors, from which many are still licking their wounds.
Look at huge, down 6 cents. That was down to 59.
Yeah.
And they shot it back up to about 66, whatever that means.
They shot it back up?
Shot it back up. Namaste down 30. Our buddy boy that, we maybe didn't look like he was right back then, but...
Who? What buddy boy?
The guy from Citron.
Andrew left? What, you're going to let him take credit for a downturn in the whole sector? Come on.
Well,
come on.
Namaste has already been cut in half. There's not many that have been cut in half in the last week.
This is the herd mentality at work, herd psychology. Jim Dines actually captured it, the sentiment, probably, I'm going to say, first, where he actually articulated the phenomenon of people, moving as a herd. You know how you watch those birds, flocks of birds, and they do all these crazy sky patterns, and there's thousands of them. You're wondering, all right, who's following who in this mess?
Yeah.
And then you look at the market, and I get the same impression. It's like a bunch of Shriners driving around. You just think one of them's going to crash at some point. Every once in a while, they do.
Right.
But look at that, red.
Red.
Red shoes, you old red shoes.
Yeah, that's...
Namaste down 12.93%, 8.85, okay.
That's listed by...
This is the small cap, so these are all the stocks trading between 100 and 500, though Namaste is out of there. Oh, I noticed that we didn't get much of an adjustment on our indexes on September 30th as we were supposed to, because Namaste here, let's just take a look at Namaste here. Come on, chart, come on. Don't mess with us now, come on. You bastard. Anyways, price. Oh, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, look at this. It's pretty brutal here today, isn't it? I guess I hadn't. Golden Leaf. There's our Golden Leaf. We were talking about that the other day. Down 7%.
Well, 2 cents is 7%.
I know.
Whoop-de-doo, as we used to say when we were kids.
Whoop-de-doo.
Now here's. I had a note from a gentleman named Christopher, who turns out he's a skateboarder living in Sweden, who says that cannabis has transformed his life, cannabis investing. So I imagine that's why he's a skateboarder living in Sweden, because he got to give up his job and go skateboarding in Sweden. Anyways, he wrote me an email saying our praises and then asked if we would talk about Neptune Wellness. And I said, we don't know anything about that company.
And there it is.
And there it is, among the biggest losers of the day. Though, on a day like this, that's really quite meaningless. And I said to the gentleman, whose name is Christopher, I said, we don't really know anything about that, Christopher, but I promised that we would take a look. So, Neptune Wellness Solutions, down 550. He said he really likes what they're doing. What are they doing? Oh, they had a halt yesterday, but no news ensued. Are they still halted?
Maybe it triggered a...
Well, it looks like the news might not have been good, though. Maybe it...
Wow, look at the action yesterday, and then today just reversed.
Yeah. Okay, Carolyn Lavoie of Canada Newswire, Director of Corporate Affairs.
Yeah, that was...
That's not a market-moving press release. Neptune to present at Sidoti and Company. Don't know what Sidoti is. Neptune confirms its name change to Neptune Wellness. Okay, so I'm going to take a giant leap for all mankind here and presume that there's a heavy CBD component to this. As soon as you see the word wellness in a name, think CBD. It's my new, that's another pattern that I've noticed.
Yeah.
And they're from Laval, Quebec. Well, we won't hold that against them.
Laval, isn't that where that famous...
Health and wellness products company with more than 50 years of combined experience extraction, purification, formulation of value-added, differentiated, science-based products. Currently, the company develops turnkey nutrition product solutions available in various unique dietary forms. Okay, I see. So it's going to be a consumer packaged goods product featuring CBDs and THCs in some formulation. We will look into that further.
Is this the first time you heard of this company?
No, we've actually, I think we tried to invite them, but they haven't responded to any email from any of their corporate email addresses. So Either they are playing hide the salami.
How many shares were in their account? Were there?
How many shares? I don't know. 400. Whoa, 79.52 million.
Yeah. So yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's up there.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's crazy. I want to look at some of these other indexes now because it looks like maybe no adjustment was done, which...
how can you tell?
Well, here's how I can tell. We go to the index page of the large cap index. So last look, there were 10 companies trading over $500 million in Canada, but some had descended below. Like Oxley, for example. Let's take a look at Oxley. Current share price, oh, no, it still qualifies to be there. Organogram still qualifies to be there. CanTrust for sure, they're more valuable than ever, 1.2 billion. TGOD for sure, 1.5 billion. Hexo, we'll call it 1.56 billion. Afria.
Wow, that took it on the chin.
Market cap, 3.8 billion. And of course, Aurora is still number 2 at 11.5 billion, and Tweed is number 1 at 13.5 billion, though that does not take into consideration future transactions between Constellation and Canopy. So, these companies all belong there, but how can I tell? Let's look at another index. Go to Cannabis index over here. Let's look at the small cap index. So every company on this index should have a market cap of between 100 and 500 million. Huge. Let's take a look. Market cap, 804 million. Should it be on the small cap index? No, it should not. It should be on the large cap.
What's it doing there?
Well, that's just what I'm saying is the adjustment that was supposed to happen September 30th on all our indexes did not occur. So we're going to call up Quote Media and give them royal shit. That's what we're going to do.
Royal shit.
Royal shit.
Is that a special color?
Blue. Royal blue.
What about purple?
That's passé.
They like purple.
That's for European royalty.
With the helmet, not the helmet, but I guess that's called a crown.
Crown head.
Not a helmet.
You should. So look at Fire Supreme Cannabis, $2.15 a share. Oh yeah, see, 556 million. They should be on the large cap. What are they doing here? Namaste, 561 million. What are they doing on the small cap index? They have been in the right side for a long time. That didn't really rhyme, nor did it rap.
No, but it was sketchy.
And it sounded close.
Liberty Health Sciences, there you go.
Yeah, Liberty Health is going to be in, like, look, it's going to spend one day qualifying for the small cap, and then it's going to go to large cap. But, you know, it's difficult to keep watching these things. Like, the whole sector is climbing in value by market cap, and then you have this red day where everything's off, and you think, oh my God, the sky is falling, it's over, it's over.
There's a bit of quiver in your voice when you say that.
Oh, yes. It's so disturbing, frightfully. Anyways.
It's kind of hard to get excited, to be really excited about a day like today. This thing looks like it's falling right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, I liked your idea. When it's things, well, we used to have a saying back on old Sunshine Village where I worked in Banff.
Yeah.
Things turn to shit, just say fuck it and leave. Now, that's what we're going to do here. Let's go look at the gold market, shall we?
Let's take a look.
Let's see, where's a good place to look at the gold market? Bloomberg? Bloomberg.com. Let's see, gold, commodities. Gold, spot. 1202. Up $13. So it's above $1,200.
Yeah, that was...
So, I guess... oh, boy.
Somebody's calling you.
No, it's the stupid auto start videos that constantly make my life a living hell. All right, so let's take a look at a couple of bellwethers technically, shall we?
All right.
And see whether we can agree or disagree on the direction of the market generally tomorrow. And if so, which stocks are likely to be providing the best opportunity for re-entry. So which stocks are demonstrating biggest trading deltas? I'm going to say that I think if we put up Afria.
That's off what, 10%?
Well, but, okay, so recent high, Monday, September 10th. $12.50. $21.85.
And where is it now? 16. Wow.
Right now it's trading at $15.
This level here is particularly significant. This thing breaks this level here.
Yes. Well, that's where it is exactly. Look at the point.
Yeah, not exactly.
What? Well, close.
Yeah, it's close.
Like it's got like.
But that's what you look for. You know, like
that's what you
close,
look for.
You know, close in horseshoes. Yeah, it hasn't broken yet, so I'm going to say
close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, okay, so a free.
You know, but we've been here before. We were here a couple months ago with terrible looking charts, and now the charts
awful.
Terrible again. A lot of money's been made.
Gross. Horrible. Disturbing.
Yeah.
Annoying. Frustrating. Scary.
Yeah, you know, it looks...
All right, so let's take a look at our old friends at Weed. The bellwether of all, the mother of all bellwethers in the cannabis space.
It's also reaching for that low there that we saw.
Last today at 57.93. So...
Wow.
Yeah, so interestingly, I have a friendly wager going with a certain analyst candidate. He says that he sees Canopy going back to $40.
You say 100.
And I said, I bet you it's going to be 100 before the end of the year. So today...
He looks right.
He looks a lot righter than I do.
Yeah.
So, Dimitri, if you're listening...
I don't like this line here either.
Uh-oh.
Rolling over. Well, it's very subtle here, but we'll see. We'll see.
That's the 20-day moving average?
Yeah, well, you know, our friend who's a trader.
Not loyal?
He says...
Not to be trusted.
He says the 50-day, that's the one he watches to see when it starts to turn. You know? But...
yeah, well, technical analysis for you. Everybody's got their own flavor. What else can we say is representative? Let's see what Tilray is looking like today.
Tilray, you know what, interestingly enough, I said yesterday I thought it would have a hard time getting up. Like it filled that gap. I thought it would have a hard time getting up through here. This morning it was 173.4 bid on the pre-market. By the time the market opened, it was down to 165, and this thing is now 145. This thing's been smoked today.
Smoked right upside the head.
It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, we're looking. There's you know, there's trouble in the air.
Trouble in the air.
It looks well. We saw it before, so I'm not going to say too much.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to pull up a chart on. I'm going to pull up the large cap chart of the Midas Letter Index. You know why?
Yes.
Because we're going to...
No, I don't know why.
We're going to look at similar patterns of weakness and see what similarities we can see. So let's pull out to the... We're going to pull out to the 5-year look here. Oh, let's make it the 3-year. All right, so there's 3 years of cannabis index featuring all the large cap companies.
Right.
And so in the 3-year look... You know, today's reversal doesn't even show up because it's hidden behind this, but it's not meaningful in this kind of time frame. So, as I learned,
but we're not. But you can't. You know, you can't really buy it down in here. I mean, if you bought it back in here, what does it matter if it drops a couple bucks?
Well, exactly.
But if you bought it at 61, and it's 57, you may get a little nervous.
But who down here is still holding at 200 when it popped up over 12,000 back here? Did it pop over 12,000? I thought we did see over 12,000. No, not quite. Not quite. Not quite.
Yeah.
All right. Soon it's going to outperform the Dow Jones Industrial Average. But, you know, there's been some big buying in here, even recently. Like, look at this volume down here.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
200 million day.
Yeah. So... You know, if we look at this is the last time we saw this level of enthusiasm. This was back in November 2016. This was when the task force announced the date for, you know, targeting or announcing that they were definitely going to move forward with the legalization for rec purposes. Saw these large volumes in here, and then there was this period of sell-off. So one could surmise that today's weakness and any ensuing weakness in the short term is the same sort of phenomenon that happened here, which you'd call, I like to think of it as inertia fatigue.
Except the fundamentals haven't changed because there's no fundamentals. You know what I mean?
Well,
in other words, the valuation is much higher. So
a fundamental factor is that these companies are now listed on the world's leading stock exchanges.
Yeah.
This was not a phenomenon.
That's not a fundamental.
That is a fundamental. That's a fundamental.
Well, a fundamental. I think of earnings. I think of cash flow. I don't think of where you trade. Where you trade. That's
a fundamental thing is a fact.
Fundamentals are
that affects the market.
Accounting stuff.
Well, okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay, macroeconomic fundamental versus an accounting fundamental. Yeah. I'm not going to split those hairs, Ed.
Like for instance, one of the companies today had said they're going to get listed in New York.
Oh yeah, who's that? I think it was Freya.
Alethea.
They said they were going to get listed in New York.
Or NASDAQ, I think they said.
Well, Aurora said they were going to get listed on NYSE.
It doesn't seem to help them.
In October. Well, I don't know. Have you seen their share price since they said that? Aurora had some really amazing statements that have not necessarily come to fruition. They're going to list on NYSE in October, and it is only October 2nd, so they've got 28 more days or 29 more days to get there. The little charade with Coca-Cola, big eyebrow raiser there.
Yeah, what happened there?
Well, nothing except management went on national business television and denied any knowledge with a certain subjectively smug look on his face.
If that would happen in the States, they might have gotten fined by the SEC.
Like Elon Musk. Yeah, well, two-tier justice in the United States. They can't really afford to hurt Elon Musk too much because he's got too much investment tied up in his company and he's got too many employees. The SEC is going to say, okay, you can't be the chairman anymore and you have to pay a $40 million fine, which I guarantee you will come out of somehow the treasury of Tesla. Probably part of his
contract. Well, you may get a bonus.
Yep, something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, well...
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
you could argue if it wasn't for him, there would be no value.
Well, some would argue that because of him, there's no value, but that's where the short
there's 300. It trades at $300
today. Got a bump on the announcement of the settlement.
Well, look, but these things are
let's pull up a Tesla chart. What the hell?
Yeah.
We're not just cannabis.
No.
We got to consider cannabis in the context of the broader market, and what happens to Tesla could easily happen. Look, Tesla is not a valid symbol, says my stupid thing. I think I need to put in US. Pretty sure Tesla's still a valid symbol, though maybe not as valuable as it was. What's going on here? Why isn't this thing rolling over? Tesla, because I put the wrong symbol in. Twat. TSLA, not TLSA.
Tulsa. It's like
Tell us a story.
Tell us a story.
Now look at that volatility.
I know.
Volatile.
Look at the move yesterday. The thing got pounded, and then they settled, and the thing went right back up. Yeah, no, that's.
I'm gonna cleave in to the 3-month look. So where was it? He said that. Oh yeah, I'm taking this private at 420 funding secured. What date was that?
No.
Cameron, do you know when that was? All right, Cameron's going to check on that. I bet you it's Tuesday, August 7th.
Yeah.
Am I right? Survey says.
Yeah.
Yeah? Tuesday, August 7th. So here's the day that he made that announcement. Stock peaked at $379.
Right.
And then the skepticism set in and the criticism set in, and the SEC said, whoa, not so fast there, young fella.
And the SEC set in.
And the SEC set in. Careful, young fella, you're going to break out in handcuffs if you're not careful. And so it's funny because Elon's big move was to make that statement in obviously a moment of judgment lapse in an effort to offset, now we're going to pull out the 6-month look, in an effort to offset the shorts that were dragging it down here. And he did that handsomely. Here's where he was complaining about the shorts. He did that handsomely, and whoa, there it goes. But look what's happened since. Touched its recent low, only matched by what happened back in April, and now has recovered thanks to the settlement announcement. 2, 3, today, well, right now, it's at 301.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
In a net look back over the performance of the chart, he should have just kept his mouth shut, don't you think?
Well, it's easy to look back and
I'll tell you one thing. Once you've had a regulatory slap with the ugly stick, the 10 times the shorts are going to be circling you now. Because that regulatory, just like a share price that touched $400 once, could touch 400 again. CEO had a lapse in judgment resulting in a regulatory slap of the ugly stick once, is almost certainly going to lapse again.
Sure.
So,
but the shorts have not had their way with this. I mean, the shorts have been destroyed, like from the beginning.
Well,
when you look at the valuation of the company, because they compare this to other companies with a lot more going on.
Tesla was the most shorted stock on the market.
I know, but the fact that it was the most shorted doesn't mean that the shorts won.
Well, but when you say the shorts, each short has its own entry and exit point.
I know, but if the stock's near its highs,
but was it? Let's go out even further. Let's go out a year.
I mean, it's
so if you were short, if you went short here, and you held on to here, I'd say you did pretty damn good.
Yeah.
If you were short here,
and then
you held on here,
and then if you held it,
you're like still looking at $100 spread here practically. Like that's a pretty good win.
I know, but the argument of Tesla has been the valuation is way out of whack, and yet it's still out of whack. It's still out of whack.
You mean out of whack to the downside or out of whack to the upside?
Out of whack to the upside.
Some people just don't take no for an answer. Answer it and tell him he's on the show. Oh, too late. Should we call him back?
No.
That would be fun. That'll teach him to call.
Anyway, but put up a 5-year chart.
5-year. Tesla's been around for 5 years. So it has. How long has Tesla been in the business? Okay, so 2010.
Okay,
just over 5 years.
look at. I mean, you can't look at that and say the shorts have been hurt.
Yeah, but what kind of short buys here and waits to sell 3 years later? You couldn't afford that.
Well, so you're saying the shorts have been hurt?
You have to deliver the stock even if you're a pro within 10 days at the latest.
No, that's not true.
That's not true.
I don't think it is.
That's not, eh?
No, you guys just stay short a long time. What did I do?
You bunged it.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Ed's off the air. Off the air. Ed, use this one. Here, Ed, use this one. This will be good. Talking to that one.
Hello there.
Just kidding. Okay, I'm gonna.
Anyway, look, this thing's overvalued. Everybody says it's overvalued. GM, I think, has got the same sort of valuation, and they've got how many more employees? You know, I'm just saying.
Well, why don't we compare it to the cannabis space?
Yeah.
Talk about overvalued. I'm going to go duck over to YouTube here and say hello to our audiencia. Swap out the NDI before I do that, if you boys wouldn't mind. Swap out the NDI over to a logo. There we go. Now let's look at what our audience has to say about our conversation so far today and what they would prefer we talked about, and if they have any questions. This is the great thing about this operation, is that we communicate in real time with our audience. I was watching Joe Rogan. You know who Joe Rogan is?
Yes.
MMA fighter, stand-up comedian guy. He's got 60 million some odd guys on his podcast. We're going to talk to him at some point if we have our wishes fulfilled. Now, I think that will be a transformational event. Okay, so let's see. Mojave Johnson, never seen you here before. How you doing, partner? Hope you don't have any guns on you. Being around the 6. Hello, that sounds like somebody who's talking about the 416 in a sort of ebonic kind of way. I don't know. Matt Pozrowski. Hi, gents. Hello, Matt. That's a very civilized approach.
Very, very Polish name.
Yeah, Polish. Wow, 141 watching right now, Edward.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Glenn Treef, he's one of our regulars. How you doing, Glenn? He said yesterday, he says, hello, bitches. I thought that was funny.
Bitfa.
Zach Norman, seen you here before. Oh, he's talking to somebody else. Look at the conversations they're having amongst themselves here.
Good.
Like, they don't need to talk to us. They want us to talk to them.
They don't want to talk to us. They want to talk to each other.
Yeah. Well, so lots of people. Garrett Turner, there's a regular guy. Hey, Garrett, how are you doing? Nope. Yeah, $1.70. Yes, seems fishy. Talking amongst themselves. Don't know what they're talking about. See, this is great. I love this. It's like we have our own little community. There's Mr. Lou 1990. Mr. Lou 1990. Kudos to you. Hats off. Yeah, no, there's no questions for us here. T-God going into reverse? Nah. T-God just getting ready for promotion part 2. Joe Rogan. Yes, Joe Rogan. Oh, yeah, so Joe Rogan. Thank you. He was having a segment on Sober October.
Sober October.
Which apparently
I'm into Sober October right
is
now.
one of his most popular episodes of all time.
Sober October.
Yeah, the last one he did a year ago. So they've decided they're going to do it every year. So I was thinking, oh, well, it'd be really smart of us to steal Joe Rogan's idea and do Sober October. But A, we're not an MMA fighter. B, we don't have 60 million followers. C, we're not going to be sober in October.
Fighter or just a promoter?
That was my punchline, Ed.
Oh, sorry. I cut right in.
I'm setting it up for you.
Okay.
Lob it over to you, and you just like...
I haven't had a drink in October.
Well, it's only October 2nd, so wow.
Have you?
Impressive. Actually, you know what? I have not.
Okay, so we're...
Oh, bags! Turkey and tequila Saturday. This is one of my oldest friends on the planet who's tuning in.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, he runs the Pirates Cove Water Park down on the QEW in front of the Jordan Station there, right where the shipwreck is. Clearly not a Pirates Cove kind of day, so he's got nothing better to do than watch us. Right, Bags? Hey, Bags, how you doing, Bags? Anyways, time for us to get together for a bender. Let's see, who else? I don't know. February is my dry month, says Adrian Kwan. Everybody's got to have a month off.
Quando.
You know what? We had a great chat with LiveWell Canada's David Rendimonti, and I think it's time we heard from him on what he had to say about wellness and cannabis and CBDs, because it matches very much my own. It was basically a 5-minute agree fest. 10-minute.
Okay.
Welcome back. My guest this segment is David Rendimonti. He's the president of LiveWell Canada Inc., trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol LVWL. David, welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
David, we have been talking to you continuously pretty much since you got rolling, and you guys are making great strides. What has happened most lately in the timeline that should excite investors?
Yeah, it's great to be back, and a couple of key highlights, I think, for today. Firstly, we just completed the build-out of the first 60,000 square feet of our retrofit on the Ottawa 100-acre facility. 21,000 of that is grow, and we're currently working to submit that to Health Canada imminently. I think that's number one. Number two, we've been having a conversation with everyone across Canada about CBD from industrial hemp. There's been a lot of regulatory changes in Canada. We're seeing the changes emerge in the US, and the World Health Organization is saying that they want to see their member countries remove CBD from industrial hemp from scheduling. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. For October 17th, that's coming up, people aren't so much asking me about what they're going to be doing on the weekends or telling me what they're going to be doing on the weekends. They're talking about their health. They're asking me about CBD. What does it mean? How can they get it? And I think that's the start of a great health conversation.
Sure. Well, certainly LiveWell implies more about wellness in association with cannabis than it does recreational intoxication. And I can tell you, and the audience knows this, that I consume 20 grams of CBD every morning because it has created shorter recovery times in connective tissue after exercise. It gives me a much deeper and more satisfying sleep, and it allows me to concentrate on single items mentally without being subjected to the normal pop up in this corner of the window distractions. I can focus, which are 3 reasons that have made me realize that, hey, I'm going to do this every day of my life. Intoxicating THC side, not so much. I mean, I did that rampantly and daily as a teenager, and but I have no interest in that. So how are you going to capture the opportunity in the emerging realization that CBD is actually a real wellness product?
Well, I think in the first case is the conversations. I mean, we're talking about it right now. We've been hearing it from people across Canada. In the US, it's happening already. And what we have to do as a company is make sure that we're ready for what people need. And so we've done a few things. We've contracted for a significant amount of industrial hemp feedstock, 1,000 acres, so that we can process CBD. We'll be able to process a significant amount of that. It means that we have to work to get our processing operations up in the first half of next year, not only for cannabis, but for hemp as well. And the good news is we have extraordinary technology in extraction and isolation to be able to do that. And thirdly, you have to be a licensed producer in Canada, and we're working very actively to be one of the key players. So you have to have a few things together. We're doing that, and to be ready to make sure that we've got CBD available on the marketplace, but also ready for extraordinary partnerships as well.
Right. 1,000 acres of hemp for CBD. How much feedstock will that generate in this? That's a single growing season, outdoor, naturally, no lights, no capex.
That's right. That's right. So maybe a little hemponomics.
Hemponomics.
Yeah, there we go.
You heard it here first.
Word of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 1,000 acres conservatively can help to produce about 25,000 kilograms of isolated or purified CBD. And if you think about that, that's a large amount that can be put into derivative products over time, like you say, for this season. And then we can do that ongoing plantings each year to capture that feedstock.
Sure. I'm curious as to the issues surrounding cannabis as an ingredient as it pertains to things like beverages and topical creams and foodstuffs. There has been emerging sort of increasing level of buzz in the industry itself that one of the bigger problems that doesn't quite seem to have a solution yet is the idea of CBD and THC degeneration over time on the shelf. And so is that something that you have considered at this point? Have you solved that problem, or is it not that much of a problem?
I think it's an ongoing problem, but really we shouldn't look at it as a constraint, rather an opportunity in terms of how we develop our technology programs and our scientific programs. And so these are issues that consumer packaged goods companies and other organizations have solved over the years. You know, having long dated shelf life, the pharmaceutical industry has solved that to develop products and programs. And we'll be doing the same. So we do have insights to how to tackle that. It does require good science. It does require good insight, testing and development, and it requires partnership. We won't be developing all of these insights and technologies within our organization. We'll be partnering selectively and to our advantage outside, and we're already having those conversations. So there are solutions. I think everybody should know. It does take a little bit of work, and you have to do great product development work. You have to collect your data. You have to develop your insights, and in our case, proprietary insights. And then we'll create great products together for ourselves and with other companies as well.
Great. How soon until we can buy CBD products for, you know, so I'm acquiring and ingesting CBD products in a dubious legal relationship with the supplier that neither one of us care to ask too much about, but CBD is not a Schedule I drug, and so it's kind of, you know, it's in a gray zone right now, especially with the sort of diminishing regulation as now demonstrated by the United States. So how does that, like, how soon until we can actually have that in that we can buy it at Shoppers Drug Mart without a prescription?
Well, I think that one's a little bit more of a longer timeline. We don't have a clear framework for how the CBD, or at least CBD from industrial hemp, would be available from, you know, the pharmacy chains or just, you know, general stores, if you will. That will take a little bit of time. I think what will happen in the short term is that the same product availability, whether prescription or adult access, will take place. That'll be dried flower and that'll be oil. I think as we move into 2019, we'll see the first derivative products approved when we have that next change in our regulatory framework for derivative products, whether it's edibles or infused or orals. And I think that'll be in the latter part of 2019. I think the broader regulatory framework in terms of just open access in a pharmacy chain We're not going to see that in 2019, and I think we'll have to work collaboratively with Health Canada and as an industry to understand how to open up that channel. I think the regulators want to understand CBD as it's differentiated from THC, and I think once they have a clear insight to that, we'll see the channels open up considerably.
Sure. So, you know, I've made these discoveries about the efficacy of CBD ingestion on a daily basis on a not an unsubstantial dose, but I've endured no negative side effects whatsoever, even after I took a week and said, I gotta question the, you know, habit-forming nature of this. Am I at risk of psychological dependency? And so I stopped for a week, and there was no downside. There was no withdrawal. There was no anxiety for the fact that I didn't have my CBD. I, in fact, forgot within 2 days that I'd been taking CBDs every day and more or less carried about my business. And only occasionally when I would, you know, be doing 5 things and suddenly I forget what I'm doing again, would I be like, oh, that's right, I haven't done my CBDs today. So, but you can't make these claims based on an anecdotal experience of an individual user. And so this is where I'm really interested in how the cannabis industry and LPs like yourself are going to drive the conversation forward. I'm not going to stop doing CBDs, and the conversation and the deregulation are starting to approach where I'm not in the gray zone at all. However, what is the outlook for that whole thing? I mean, in terms of, like, you can't make representation, so how's the world going to know that CBDs have this effect except by anecdotal experience? And they're not going to wait for the doctors to do the clinical studies over years and time. They just want to get on this program now.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I think you've hit it on perfectly. The first one is people are going to try to self-medicate, and that's happening right now, and you've described it very well, and you're not the only one.
Notice how calm.
Yeah, I see how calm you are. I'm actually calm sitting here.
Yeah, that's right.
I think the thing is the medical conversation that needs to take place first and foremost. I think clinicians that have prescribed cannabis or CBD alone need to be a part of the conversation and share with patients and share with the general community what they see and what's available, how they dose and how they, you know, I've heard start low and go slow. I think our job as an LP is to collect data. Right. You know, I think from our perspective and LiveWell's perspective, how we're organizing ourselves and building our capabilities is that we want to bring evidence of how our products work in animal models so that we have evidence-based products and that we can coordinate the development through formulation and manufacturing as well. And again, we're building that capability. We have to do it. So I think what people are looking for is not just anecdotal experience, but how they can build on sequential evidence experience and insight so that they can make really great and safe choices. Now, I think there's a body of evidence that's great, that's starting, but we have to continue to invest in that.
Sure. Okay, now from an investment perspective, I'm intrigued by LiveWell because I know that Canopy Rivers, which is Canopy Growth's investment enterprise, recently gone public, is a 15% shareholder at this point?
Diluted 11%.
Okay, so 11%. How does this imply that you have a exposure to the full Canopy ecosystem of marketing and product development, or is this merely an investment by their investment wing?
I think it's a little bit more, and we've actually discovered that the relationship has been growing. So when we first started our conversation and our partnership with Canopy, it was a little bit like big brother, big sister. You never know what you get with your big brother and big sister. But it's been great. They've helped us with our applications, with our standard operating procedures, engineering, operational insights. I tease everybody, their drying room version 8 is our drying room version 1. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity to learn and to grow. I think more importantly, we have ongoing conversations, daily and weekly, about other opportunities, and I think that'll continue to grow. So I think the short answer is, yes, we see ongoing conversation. We want to learn from their capabilities. We actually think we have some as well to share back through their ecosystem, and so it's been a growing partnership. It's been great.
Sure. So the original business model that was stated by the company, essentially a food sort of born enterprise associated with cannabis, have you pivoted now more to a CBD focus, or is that still very much a part of the program and part of the growing sort of future revenue stream?
I think it's a piece of it. I think where we've grown is to a broader insight around CBD and industrial hemp and what scale can do. I think when we look at our operations for cannabis, what scale can do and how we can bring a broader health benefit to Canadians, but also set up a footprint for a global opportunity and operation as well. I think where food fits in here and our insights and certification in the past is around edibles and infused, and that'll come back into our future for sure.
Okay, great, David. Well, very enlightening as usual. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Live well. Live well. Live well. Anyways, live well. I think that the CBD, you heard that the US is incrementally deregulating CBD. It's descheduled now in many countries. Soon, you're just going to be able to gobble down as much CBD as you want.
Really?
Yeah, you know what's interesting? I'm finding since I've been eating CBDs on their own, that I'm wondering how much of the pleasurable experience of being high was actually the CBD component, because it's the part that makes you mellow, it's the part that makes you able to focus. At least that's how it seems to me. Whereas the THC is the one that sends your brain into off into another place, into another plane, shifts reality ever so slightly, so you can see yourself in a most unflattering light. Anyways. Not to be, so you, LiveWell is owned 11% by our friends at Canopy Rivers. And that's one of their investments.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. So, you know, the dynamic by being an investee company from Canopy Rivers, David was saying that it gives them access to a lot of the infrastructure. He made a good point when he said that, you know, Canopy is building their drying room version 8. He says, thanks to our relationship with Canopy, their version 8 is our version 1. So there's the upside of being associated with that. So I wonder how much of a competitive advantage it's going to represent down the road being an investee of Canopy Rivers by virtue of being exposed to the Canopy growth knowledge base and connectivity base and market connect. It'd be interesting to see. So would you consider that a fundamental?
Well, fundamentals are just technicals and fundamentals. Like technicals, it's all about price action, number of share, you know, like fundamentals all about, you know, like accounting 101. It's all about what's really going on. Like if you have a company that isn't doing anything and it's got a great market cap, you know, that's where people get jumpy.
Yes, Joseph Lee here tells us that CBD is legal now in the U.S., now Schedule 5.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
You know, there you go.
Oh, however, he's being argued with by Christopher Hamray Drake. Joseph Lee, you might want to take another look. Might be fisticuffs on our chat room over there, Ed. That could be interesting.
Like a brouhaha?
A brouhaha. Now let's go take a look at our chart here on Patriot One.
Okay.
Patriot One was in the green, and now it still is kind of. Let's go intraday on this.
So that was that high at 250 there earlier today?
No, nope, that was earlier this year.
Yeah.
So here's the intraday. You know, it was trading up here in, you know, up territory, and then fell out of bed at the end of the day. I wonder if this is day trading. Look, buy here, tried to sell here, couldn't, was hoping to go higher. Oh, I got to get out of here because I got to have zero risk at the end of the day. Day trader mentality. Anyways, but let's look at the 3 month. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
What's happening there, Ed? This thing going to break out?
Well, it's breaking out.
It's breaking out.
It's breaking out.
Breaking out of jail.
That to me is a bona fide breakout.
Bonafide breaking breakout. That's
in other words,
that sounds
that's
like
what
said with conviction.
People in prison
want
to break out.
Absolutely.
There you go. That's it. Look at it. It's taken out the highs set back in August.
Let me ask you this. Is a guy who's getting out of prison tomorrow want to break out?
No. No.
So there's a qualification there.
Yeah, well, not everybody wants to break out. Some people want to break in.
To prison?
Yeah.
Why would you want to break into prison?
Because they like the fact that they know where they're going to be.
3 square a day in a soft bed?
No, well, no more mail, you don't give a shit.
No more mail?
Well, if you get mail, what are you going to say?
So you're suggesting that prison is a type of freedom? Boy, oh boy. I know a prison population south of the border that would argue with you there. Though I bet you there are some that feel that way.
No, you know our famous Canadian who got slapped on the wrist. He had to go to prison here in Canada or in the States.
Slapped on the wrist or sent to prison?
He was sent to prison in the U.S.
Oh, Mark
Conrad Black.
Conrad Black?
Conrad Black. Conrad Black. He actually said going to prison was one of the most liberating experiences he ever had.
Conrad Black said that?
That's what he said.
Interesting.
Yeah, so maybe there's something to it. I'm going to try it.
You're going to try it?
Yeah, I'm going to go to prison.
Really?
Yeah.
For a visit?
No, I'm going to go in there for life.
For life? You're going to kill somebody?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Who?
You.
No! Ah!
No.
I better wear some Kevlar to work. Is that what you're saying? You know, media is a dangerous business.
Like even people, yeah, I mean, look. You don't have to answer your mail. No more mail, no more email. No, you don't do anything in prison. You just have to.
Well, stay alive.
Yeah, you have to watch over your back.
Let's answer the phone. Tell him he's on the show. Hi, Mike, you're on the show. Come on. Yeah. Hey, Mike.
Michael, just on the show here with James West, so I can't talk.
Unless you want to talk to the show.
Okay.
You're live. Come on, Mike. See? Now, guaranteed, he's never going to bother you again between the hours of 3 and 4:30.
Well,
He'll be like, "Oh shit, I'm on the show."
So we got corresponding high volume here, and we got this thing. It looks higher. It does look higher, although it's outside the bands.
Yeah. But look at all the moving averages are trending.
I know. It's acting like. And put up a longer term chart, please.
And, a longer term chart? How long?
Like a couple of years.
Couple of years. Boom, 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 boom.
You know, it doesn't look like. I mean, look at this. Back in early 2018, we had a pretty big move.
Yeah.
It looks topping in this chart, right? It looks.
Yeah. So what are the catalysts driving this thing? What are the catalysts driving this thing right now? Do we know? Do we know? Do you know?
They have that contraption, right? That they can.
Contraption?
You work into.
It's not a contraption. It's ultra high technology from the 24th century.
So.
Yes, this thing can detect.
But there's been a few hiccups.
This device can detect concealed weapons on human bodies in crowded places with a 90+% degree of certainty and reliability. That is the value proposition.
Sure it is.
And they have got some resellers out there that are already forward selling the entire system. This is the value catalyst, or what I would prefer to think of as a marketplace fundamental that has catalyzed renewed vigor in the share price, sending it to potentially higher levels. But you know, this is a stock that I've always said, I can see this stock going to $10 if it doesn't get bought out sooner. That's not a prediction. I'm not seeking safe harbor. I do own the stock, but that's not a prediction. I'm just saying that way back before I owned it, I said I could see this becoming a $10 stock.
When did you first get involved with this thing? Like, was that 60 cents?
15 cents.
Wow.
15 cents, yes. Yes.
That's a big move.
Yeah. Well, I took some dough off the table, obviously.
Yeah.
Because what kind of moron wouldn't? At that point, you know, still the jury was out on whether the technology worked or not. But incrementally, I've been to multiple demonstrations. They had a fantastic presentation at the Western Security Conference. Can't remember what it's called, but Tom Ridge is on the board of directors. He's connected the company to lots of people associated with Homeland Security. So yeah, it's a.
So are they going to become? Is this going to be the de facto standard?
Well, they announced that they had a partnership with a major technology firm without identifying that firm.
Right.
I can't disclose anything beyond that, but that firm is the kind of company that would buy into it to see if it works, and if it works, they're just going to buy the whole thing.
Right.
So
they're big.
So that my point being, it might never see $10 before it gets bought. But in any case, you know that you're looking at least a 30-40% premium to market for it to get done. Now, probably, although this is a huge, oh, look at that.
Time.
Ding, 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 the market's closed.
Ding, dong, bell.
We should have people in here to celebrate the market closing.
Today.
Stand around, everybody with their little corporate logo.
All the cannabis stocks got pounded.
Well, and Patriot ended up closing, did it close down? What did it close at? Oh, down a penny. Down a penny. So a bunch of day traders got interested. Let's see what else we got to look at here. What else did we say we were going to look at? Audience? Let's talk to the audience. They know what we said we were going to do. If legalization was Trump's idea, it would have already been legal, says Sybil Hancock.
Right.
Cannabis company expert. Boy, that's a pretty serious title. Remember, guys, in alcohol prohibition, all you could buy was a murky mason jar full of moonshine from a guy's dirty basement.
Yeah.
What you can buy today, murky cannabis from a mason jar in some dirty basement. Well, boy, that's going to be a few growers taking umbrage with that little statement. And in fact, juju is long-term. Yeah, well, it's obviously not short-term, or it would be up today. Oh, here's a legitimate request. Can you get an interview with the guys from Cannabis Technologies? Suzanne, can you get an interview with the guys from Cannabis Technologies, please? We could reach out to Cal Malley. Oh, there you are. Hi, Suzanne. Can the camera go over and look at her? Oh, oh my gosh. Nessa, where are you going? Okay, just kidding. Careful, if you talk to me, you'll be on camera. But maybe, so yeah, so a gentleman here wants us to get Cannabis Technologies in. The symbol's BLO, B-L-O. We have reached out to them. We have reached out to them.
I've reached out to everyone in the
Reached out to everyone in the cannabis universe. See, right away, somebody says, my illegal cannabis is not murky, nor is my CBD oil murky. It is very clear and very, very, very clean. Zach Norman from Suniva. What? Okay, now they're starting to bet.
Suniva, how's this Suniva been doing? Because
you know, let's pull up a Suniva chart. There's one that we were anticipating big things from based on statements made by our Western broker friend, right. SNN.
Right.
I think we have to put the C and X on that. Continue.
So that, you know, 1750
down to 534.
Is that where it is now?
Yep.
534 down 13, 142,000.
Wow.
That's a 1 year chart, right? Yeah. No, year and a half. Year and a half. No.
It's a 2 year chart, but Suniva only got started at the beginning of 2018. Yeah. At which point it promptly rocked up to 1750. Could you imagine if you loaded up the truck on 1750 on this thing? You'd be worth one.
What did this thing go public at? Like in that area there, $7, $8? Is that?
Well, let's see if we want to take a look. We just, oh no, no, that's not moving. I have to make that adjustment. Down in here, you mean? Down here.
Yeah, we don't know what the issue price was. I guess.
No, we don't. No.
Well, I'll tell you.
We could look at the Storex and go back, but that's boring.
This 750. This looks like a real difficult number to breach. Like it looked like it was support in that, in the first half of the year.
Yeah.
Or resistance.
Support or support?
Resistance.
Did you just have to do that calculation in your head?
Yeah. Well, you know. And then it got collapsed to 450, ran back to 750.
Do you want to have a chat with Justin Bieber? I mean Justin Bieber. Holy
I'd love to have a chat with Justin Bieber.
Justin B. Marshall.
Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber.
Hello, James, Ed, and all our Midas Letter friends around the world. Today we're here in beautiful Carmel by the Sea, California, spending time with Mr. John Arriaga. John is the Executive Director of the Monterey County Cannabis
Industry Association.
Industry Association. Would you please be so kind as to tell us a little bit about your association, John?
So the association started just about 2 years ago, and the purpose is, to professionalize the cannabis world here in this area. There's, having only been in this legally business for the last year, approaching a full year, there was a lot of concerns from both a community standpoint, county standpoint, and so forth as to what this was all about, where it's going, and so forth. So we wanted to have this organization where people could come who are in the business, either growing dispensaries, manufacturing, and so forth, and provide a unified voice when dealing with the many issues that we're faced with. Starting all the way from the state, the state regulations and legislation and so forth, all the way down to the local level with the regulations and so forth. And particularly on the issues like taxes and testing, regulations, and so forth that are causing a lot of consternation for some, because it's also new. But at the same time, it's going to make this a much better business in the long run. So that's the general purpose. We provide education, leadership, representation, advocacy for the people in this area. There's about 600 members in the area, in the Monterey region alone. So it's quite a awesome opportunity here to do things with this business.
It certainly is. It certainly is. And as you're working with other organizations, such as the Organic Farmers Association, are you seeing correlations?
Oh, absolutely. With the testing requirements that are just beginning to come out and at the state level and so forth, you're almost going to have to be organic, because they are so stringent that in the first testing that they did, I think it was back in July or so forth, I'd say 20% of those that were being tested failed. It's only going to get tighter as we go along. So there's a good relationship there, and I'll talk a little bit more later on about the conference that we're doing. But the Organic Produce Organization was one that we hooked up with because there were a lot of interest in what they do and what we're doing and where we're going. So
yeah, I can see the correlation.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the summit you have coming up in December.
So, being the only association representing cannabis in the Monterey region, and actually pretty much along the coastal area, we're looking at this as an opportunity to. It's the first in the area, as an opportunity to bring people together and share where this area is going, what are the opportunities in the Monterey region from a branding standpoint to an investment standpoint and so forth. There's a lot of interest. There's a lot of big money that has been coming into the area, and there's a lot of opportunities. I mean, Monterey area is not the agricultural capital of the world it's for a reason, and that's because the weather, the soil. All that goes into ag tech and so forth, and it's translating very much to the cannabis world. So, this event that we're having in December, we've actually hooked up with the Organic Produce Organization, piggybacking on what they're doing. They're actually going to have the first 2 or 3 days on organic produce, but then many of those members are going to be obviously interested in what we're doing. Some of the registration that we've already had are people as far away as Australia, coming to this. So I think it's going to be exciting.
Well, this is certainly a global industry. A lot of our friends in Canada are clearly making moves this way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of them are coming into the area. I hear of a lot of mergers and acquisitions happening locally here. Where do you see the future of the industry heading?
This is a multi-billion-dollar business, that is just in its infancy. So,
That's right.
So I think it's going nowhere but up, and that's both from the quality, from the type of businesses that are being created, the workforces that are being created. At our summit that we're having, we're going to have the first job fair during the first day, to kick it off. But when you go to something like these huge expos have been put on, at least several each month. You can see all the possibilities. I recently went in July to the one here in San Jose, the expo there, and I must have spent 2 hours, there just and didn't get through not even half of that. I mean, there's so much involved. Everything from the legal aspect to the investment aspect, the water, the soil, the fertilizing. It's just incredible.
Everything,
Yeah.
everything.
Yes.
There really is.
Yeah.
Are you seeing a lot of correlations as well as far as the wine industry and moving into organic and outdoor cannabis farming here in our area?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of similarities, in particularly in the branding and the appellation, side of things and so forth, and that's what we'd like to do in this area here in the Monterey region and the central coastal region. I think people are going to find, very soon, that the quality of cannabis that comes from this area and the quality and more organically, I think is going to, be quite of interest. And just like the wine industry, I think you'll see developments in this area where you are going to have at some point the premier type of cannabis in whatever form that it comes out from this area. I really do.
Sure. John, I'm seeing a lot of technology plays moving into as far as the microencapsulation of the cannabinoids for the 100% bioavailability, how you can get those through misters now. A lot of the technology coming out of Israel, moving over here, and I wonder if you're seeing some of these technology plays coming into the space, whether it be cryptocurrency, blockchain, or applications.
I think in a number, you've mentioned a number of areas, regarding both from the financial side of it to the production and so forth. And I think, again, because it's so new, it's all developing, but it's developing very fast. I've toured, one of the local manufacturing places, Indus.
Yes.
And it's incredible. You walk into that organization, you think they'd been around for 20 years, doing what they do now. And to see that whole process, from the edibles, to some of the other things that they're just starting in the process of developing is amazing. The financial side of things, I think we'll come to grips with it sometime, probably sooner at the state level than we do at the federal level. That may take longer. But I think the California legislature has been working at trying to find an answer to the cash situation. There was some legislation this last year. It didn't make it all the way through, but I think certainly next year they'll try it again through either charter banks or credit unions and so forth. I don't think the Bitcoin situation, and may be working in some instances right now, but I don't think that's going to be the answer. I think they're going to start and try to work with what we have now and just tweak it, fine tune it, and make it work. Yeah.
Well, since we are in the infancy stage, there really is a lot of time to get this right.
Yeah.
May I ask you another question, John? When we're looking at the cannabis business as a whole here in the Monterey County region, am I wrong in saying that this is probably looking to be the hub of California cannabis? Because in Northern California, we get those early and late rains, which destroy crops. And unfortunately, we had those big fires up there this year where a lot of farmers lost their crops. In Southern California, we get a lot of the heat, excessive heat that also destroys crops. But right here in this very region, we have the best growing climate in America. And so that's why this is the salad bowl of the world. That's why we do produce all the vegetables. But now that cannabis is becoming a commodity, which can be sold and traded, and it's a legal, almost a legal tender, do you see that brokerage firms could come online? People that can actually broker cannabis, broker oils?
I think that's all possible in the future. I mean, because right now, most of what's happening in Monterey is indoor. You know, that's where people felt comfortable, particularly from a local government standpoint. You know, there was this fear about, you know, huge crops and people just, you know, being able to walk right on and off and what happens there and so forth. But I think, you know, we'll eventually get there. I think here the county had just recently approved in Monterey a pilot program for some outdoor, and I believe in South County. I think you're going to start seeing more and more of that. But you know, it's you know, agricultural here in this area is big business, it's big corporate business and so forth. So I think there's going to be a balancing act, you know, to keep, you know, the small business, you know, going, keep them alive, you know, because that's what we've got coming out right now. Sure, it's going to grow, but, you know, at a reasonable pace is what they're trying to do in this balancing act. You know, I think, you know, there's a lot of hit and miss. You know, the whole tax situation here at the not only in Monterey region, but I think you saw it up and down the state. People thought that, you know, the cannabis was going to be the answer to the local government's woes from a financial standpoint, and they realized, like any new business, it's taken some time to, you know, to get rooted and to particularly adjust to the regulations and to the safety aspect and everything that goes with it. So it'll take time. I'd say, you know, over the next, you know, few years, people will start adjusting to it. California had the benefit of looking at some of the other states that had already gone to it, and they spent a lot of time in these other states. Colorado, for example, and I know from a state agency standpoint, you know, they were visiting and talking to them and spending a lot of time just trying to work out some of those, you know, those initial growing pains. So they've been doing a pretty good job. Our cannabis czar, Lori Ajax, at the state level, has really stayed focused and tried to make it work. Now, it'll be interesting to hear her report at the end of the year, after the first year, and then where we're going and so forth. And those are some of the things that we want to talk about at our first annual summit.
Yes.
Is it'll be that opportunity to hear from others, you know, both from either a growth standpoint, both from a state standpoint and an investor standpoint. So,
for any of our viewers that want to come and join us at our local cannabis summit, the dates will be?
Are December 13th and 14th here in Sacramento at the Portola Plaza.
Monterey, actually. Yes.
Monterey, yeah.
Monterey, California, December 13th
and 14th.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot of fun.
And if you go into the MCCIA website, you can find all that information there.
Beautiful, yeah. Beautiful. Well, I certainly look forward to catching up with you there, John, if not sooner.
I hope to see you there. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah. And John, thank you very much for taking the time to come on our show today, to visit with us and our viewers, and for giving us this knowledge and insight into the cannabis industry.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you again.
Absolutely, John.
Okay.
Thank you very much. James, Ed, and all our Midas Letter friends around the world. We'll see you on the next episode.
Smoke weed every day.
Wow, they got an association for growing cannabis. That's amazing. Another fabulous interview from our correspondent down in Monterey, California, Justin B. Marshall, and his partner, Michael Boffo. We thank you guys so much for that. That was fantastic. We need to have a growers association.
I think so.
I think we must already do. Do you think so?
Yep.
I think we should have a cannabis
brewers
association.
Will one. Let's will one into existence.
Will one?
Will one.
Will one, like instead of roll one?
Will one.
Will one. What about a cannabis brewers association?
Will one a joint?
Will not?
And they will not come out.
Okay, no more high school humor.
No more.
Have you noticed we've been taking a task for our high school level comedy here from a lot of the viewers? Hey, you know what? Most of our audience is high school kids, so...
Really?
No,
Shouldn't they
I'm
be
joking.
in school?
That was my material. That was my off-the-cuff, stand-up humor attempt wannabe. I know. One of these days we're going to have a real comedy writer in here. They're going to be funny as fuck. Maybe not. Anyways, so 4:18. You know what's happening at 4:20?
You know what you could do? Can I just make a suggestion here as I'm looking at this?
Go off on a tangent, maybe?
You got Midas Letter RAW.
Yes.
You should put a D in brackets in the front of the RAW, and then an L after it. So Midas Letter DRAW.
Right. That would be. Is that funny, or is that?
Did I spell that right in there? Drawl. Is drawl a word?
drawl?
Yeah, I think
it is. I had an East Coast drawl.
Yeah, exactly.
Texas drawl.
Midas letter.
But we don't have a drawl.
Raw drawl. Yeah, we do.
Actually, we could change the A to an E with your D and L, and then it would be Midas letter drool. No, we'd have to change it to OO. Right. Temporary fart brain stem there. In the spelling bee
I like the Midas letter drawl because
I like the Midas letter
it says
drool.
that we've got something going on here that's unique.
What about the drool?
After you draw a lot, you get the drool.
We could have a trademark Midas letter drool. That once
I could just.
Well, you remember Saturday Night Live, the drool bucket? We'll get one of those.
The drool bucket.
Yeah. You know what we could do? We could drag Suzanne out here and make her do her product presentation. What do you think of that, Suzanne? Let's see what's going on in the production studio back there.
Okay.
Come on. Come on, boys.
Lights,
back
action,
to the production
camera.
studio. Come on. Let's see it.
It's disconnected, the camera.
What?
We don't have it.
Sounds like bullshit to me.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Boy, oh boy. Anyway,
Bullshit.
so for some reason, the production department is feeling a little shy today. They don't want to be on camera. It's raining outside. They want their mommy.
When you say someone's in camera, does that mean they're off, like they're not out in the open? Is that right? In
That's
camera.
not a term I'm familiar with.
I think it's a Latin term.
In camera?
Yeah. What does in camera mean?
Well,
every time you ask, they keep sending you the answer.
No. Oh, you mean, will anybody tell me what the... Okay, let's go see. But last I looked, they were having a conversation amongst themselves and wanted no part of us. The Don says, thoughts on Namaste. He wants to know. Thoughts on Namaste.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do I think about Namaste? They're rubbing it in that we had a Blood in the Streets day up there. What do I have to say about Namaste? I am intrigued at the level of traction they've got in the market. They've accomplished way more than I thought they ever would. And I am somewhat bitter that I didn't buy it at 30 cents when I was offered the chance. So that's what I think about Namaste. What do I think about Namaste now?
Let's put up the chart again.
On Namaste? You want to look at a Namaste chart, Ed?
Yeah, I do, because of all the ones, the bigger ones that we followed, they did get picked on by Citron.
Yeah.
They did have this event in Montreal that I'm not so sure.
Couple eyebrows raised there.
Couple.
And
you know what? I got to be honest with you. When I'm looking at this chart here, I see a double top.
That's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign, especially in that time frame, which is about 10 months, 8, 9 months, 10 months. But the same kind of action, and obviously what happens with these moving averages, I'm not holding my my sore back here. I'm holding my
You're not holding your pants up?
I'm holding. But look at, we're back
diaper
to
slip
we're back,
or something.
Look at this. That red line's probably a, what's it say? Simple moving average, 200-day.
Yeah.
So this thing's back to the 200-day moving average.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No?
That's not good. So Namaste, there's probably, I don't like to.
It's come down a lot, so you shouldn't buy it here?
Well,
ahead of the future blood
you look at, let's say you look at 15 charts here in this space of similar size companies.
Yes.
And you look at this one and you say, this one looks particularly.
Look at the RSI though.
And then, I know, but the one thing about the technical stuff, if it's real SHIT, and I'm not saying this is.
SHIT.
If the company is,
HIGH.
I was playing around with Campo, the real estate company, way back, trying to find a bottom. It went to zero. Because when,
So you kept buying it all the way down?
Yeah, it was not good. It was not good. No.
So that was part of your career as a broker, except you used your tricks and your techniques on yourself accidentally. See?
I don't like the fact that this thing went from 20 cents up to $5, $4, and did this thing, and then we rallied again, and now coming apart.
Yeah.
Looks. I'd say,
What would
Are
you
they
say?
a customer? Are they a client of yours?
No, though we are pitching them with a strategy. which we don't know if they're going to listen to us or not. But yeah, no, we're interested in what Namaste is doing. I just am so amazed at what they managed to do. Coming from, like, so remember, these guys got their start as a U.S. online vape catalog. They were basically selling mostly other people's wares on a website. So they parlayed that.
How many shares are in this thing?
How many shares? I knew you were going to ask me some tough question to which I did not have an immediate response. However, Edward, on your behalf, I'm going to go look. Let us see. Well, I guess
there it is. Just under. Keep going.
There it is.
Keep going. Wow. Look at that market cap, $2. So there's 300. There's 250, 280, 280 million shares.
Well, that's odd. They don't have the actual share count there. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, so obviously, so Namaste, let's go back to that chart. Namaste has lost from its recent high of 374, it's down to $1.93, so almost in half. And
is that where it closed today? $1.93?
Yes.
But they're jumping out of that name.
Yeah.
Fast.
You know what? I'll bet that the regulatory questions raised by the Quebec securities regulator around what they were doing at their party, I think that's what might be.
Was Snoop Dogg at the party?
Yeah, Snoop Dogg apparently was. He was playing as a DJ, though, and under the name Snoopadelic. So when I saw that, I didn't think it was Snoop. I said, no, that's misleading, because it's not Snoop. It's some guy calling himself Snoopadelic, but it was actually Snoop Dogg playing as Snoopadelic, which is interesting, because I think that's how he got to play there and sidestep his obligations to Canopy, with whom he has a contract as Snoop Dogg. So little clever Trevor there. Not sure how Canopy would have
and there was another one I looked at. The one that's in Quebec, the big one, Hexo. Take a look at Hexo for a minute.
Take a look at Hexo.
Because this thing came off today. 10%, I believe. I was looking at...
intraday? Let's see.
811, down 71, down 8%. No big deal. No big whoop.
Yeah. No, it's been... this one got the bump when the shareholder threatened to...
So that's a one day, yeah.
Threatened to proxy war them if they didn't get the butts in gear. He demanded a sale of the company, and that catalyzed this thing's lift, which is hilarious as hell.
Put up a 6 month.
All right then,
please.
Hexo.
Yeah, look at. There's a top. So in the new highs here over the last month.
Yes.
Looks like it's rolling a bit, but that may change quickly.
Yeah.
That chart looks a lot better than, than the last one.
If Molson Coors, with whom they have a free trade agreement, in other words, Molson gets free stock of Hexo and they don't have to do anything necessarily, but if they were to announce the groundbreaking of a new facility or announce the establishment of a facility within an existing facility to start the exploration of brewing beer, that would help Hexo. That would send Hexo north. But yeah, still nothing much happening there.
Okay.
What else do we want to look at before the show ends today, Ed?
And John made a comment. John McMahon made the comment about all these new companies coming on stream. That
30 new companies coming on in the next couple months.
Chews up. That's another form of dilution.
Sure it is. Mind you, with the NYSE onboarding companies,
yeah,
I would say that there's more investors coming into the space than there are companies coming into the space at this point. So net, I don't think it's dilution. I think it's only a broadening of the availability of supply, but not necessarily that dilutive considering the rate at which new investors qualify to participate, thanks to the fact that first the NASDAQ, then the NYSE, and soon we're going to see exchanges all around the world. In fact, I happen to know that there's a deal coming together on a little cannabis thing in London.
Is Canada the only place you can grow cannabis?
Cannabis? Do you mean cannabis?
Is Canada only place you can grow cannabis?
No, you can grow cannabis wherever you want. It's just in some places, if you get caught, you're fucked.
Yeah, but is it easier to grow it in Canada? Is Canada what makes Canada such a great place to grow cannabis?
Lax rules.
Lax rules.
Lax enforcement. That's what always has made, well, Canada has always been a great place to grow cannabis since the late 80s because of the lax enforcement of the rules,
There
really.
you go. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Abundant low-cost hydroelectricity also
From
helps.
Quebec.
Well, or from Surrey, BC. That was
Okay.
That was then, though. This is now. So I think that on a macro basis, Ed, let's finish with a look at all of our indexes.
Okay.
If you're going to look at these, what are you going to say is likely to happen tomorrow? Absent major catalysts that we can't possibly know about today. What is going to happen to make this a green day tomorrow?
I got to tell you, this on this chart anyway, this move here is not good. This flip-flop, that's not good. I got to believe we're going to try and test this here.
There you have it, folks. That's from our man, Ed Milewski. We shall see. That is our show for today.
Okay,
we thank you very much for joining, and we will come back to you tomorrow. Please don't forget to subscribe to us and like us and sign up at our Facebook page and join the Twitter account and send us lots and lots of money.
Send us some money.
Send us some money.